Hey guys, welcome back to Beach and Fishing. Paul here with you again today, and Beach and Fishing is my site and channel aimed at all things to do with fishing. I'm an avid fisherman. I love going out and doing it. I'm by no means professional, but I hope I do it enough to be able to talk to this. Love writing about it, so let's discuss as we go along. Now today we're going to talk about the 3 best baitcaster reels for bass fishing. I actually bought this baitcaster reel myself for the purpose of chasing 2 types of fish, to be honest. The freshwater bass that run around in the rivers and creeks and lakes around where I live here in Australia, and a really nice catching fish called a mangrove jack, which I chase in the estuaries, and they both hit very hard. They both live under structures, like the bass live under structures of branches and little bridges and stuff like that, and the mangrove jack, as the name suggests, lives in the structure of the mangrove. So I needed something that, to be honest, didn't have to worry about with the spinners being able to get it. I could cast it accurately. I've had some problems with backlash. I'm by no means an expert with the bait casters, but to be honest, they're probably the most preferred reel for bass fishermen. Comment below if you disagree, but in my research and my use, I found them to be most preferred. And when I was in the US a couple of years ago and I did a bass fishing charter, we went out and I got myself a largemouth bass, which was awesome. The guy in there told me that I use baitcasters, so that's where I'm taking his advice as gospel and running with it. So if you disagree, comment below. One thing to love about fishing, everyone has a difference of opinion. Okay, so let's talk about baitcaster reels. Now, baitcaster reels, for those of you who haven't seen these before, I've taken mine off the rod here, but baitcaster reels sit on top of the rod, like so you can see the eyelets sit on top from where the reel is, as opposed to your spinner reels, which would sit on the bottom and you'd cast in like that. So that's what how the baitcaster reels work. You pop down the little thing at the back there, cast it out. The line shoots out the spool at the front. Once you finish, you start to wind, and that clips up. So the advantages of these over spinning reels is they are more accurate to cast, especially with one hand. I do a lot of my fishing on a kayak, and with one hand on a kayak, I might even attach this back up again so I can demonstrate a little bit easier for you. So if I were in the kayak, I can hold it with the finger thing there, drop that down, cast it out, wind it in, and off it goes. They're also very good with the drag. The drag's on the side there, and it's a lot more accurate than I found with the spinners. Some of the spinning reels, when you go out looking, especially chasing a mangrove jack, you almost have to spanner tighten the drag to stop it from pulling, because as soon as those fish hit, they'll take you into the structure, exactly like the bass that we chase around here do as well. If they'll come out of the structure on the side of the river, on the side of the lake, being at rocks or under branches or in weed or stuff like that, and as soon as they hit, they'll take you straight back in there. So the star drag on the side of a bait caster is where it's at. The other things to look at for a bait caster reel is, I mentioned backlash before. Now, the reason these cast so accurately is when you pull that down, the line tends to come almost straight out, and when you cast it in. But because that spool in there turns, quite often when the lure or the bait hits the water, this spins a little bit further, and you go. Trust me, if you've ever had a backlash on a bait caster reel, it definitely takes some getting used to. How that is managed is with magnets. Now this one here, if I can open that up, it has centrifugal, I think it's called, magnets on the inside, and I can't seem to get that open right now. I don't know why that's not opening. Open and turn. Off that comes at the side. And you can see in there, if I put that up, there's 6 little magnets there. Now 3 of those are switched on. 2 of those are switched on. I've only got it down to 2 at the moment. And so they flick on and off. So if I flick that, you can't see that, but I can flick that up, and then there's 3 turned on, or I can flick it back down So those little plastic things come up and down. Now that's called a centrifugal brake. So if I plug that back on there and twist that up and then close it off, that's on there. Some of the others have the brakes attached on the side, so you can actually turn a little spool on the side and tighten it and reduce it. If I had all those magnets on, it doesn't cast very far at all. Because the magnets slow it down. As soon as it takes off, the magnets will slow it down. With the two, this one casts not too bad, a Shimano KS. I'm doing a review on it at the moment, and I'll load that up soon. Now, the other trick to this is the adjustment knob here. The lighter that is, the easier this comes out, and the more backlash you're going to get. Too tight, and again, you can't cast it very far. So it's a matter of finding that distance. One trick that I've seen a lot of people do is if you put a lure, the lure that you want to use, unclip at the back. Now see, that's backlashed already because I've loosened everything off. So if I tighten that back up, I'll have to pull this out and fix it when we're finished. I've managed to tangle that up. But that's exactly what backlash is, because I had that on very loose, showing you. Rookie mistake there. And as soon as I let it go, we've got ourselves a little tangle. There you go. That's wound out now. That's coming out, almost out. I'll fix that later. But yeah, so that's what these things here do. As I was saying, loosen it off just a little bit. Open up the spool, let the lure hit the ground. As soon as the lure hits the ground, if it has a little backlash, it won't do a big one when you're only doing it like that. Tighten it a bit more and do it again. And you want it so that as soon as the lure hits the ground, there's no backlash there like I've got here. As I say, I'll be able to fix that up. It's not tangled. I just need to pull it out, and it will. Well, it is a bit tangled in there. Anyway, I'll fix that later. So that's how that's the Baitcaster Reels. So you set your brakes in there, set your adjustment there, and then as you cast, some people still use their thumb to control that as well. But as you cast it out, pull it in. Very, very, very good for bass. Very, very good for really heavy hitting fish. The other advantage of the mist is that they can take a lot heavier line than what the spinners tend to do. Now, I haven't got the setting. This one doesn't have the setting on here, but it'll have a setting of something like 20-150 or 15-180 or something like that. That means it's 180 yards of 15-pound braid. Some of them will give you mono as well, so it might be 10-200 or in mono, and then 20 and 250 in braid, because braid's a little bit thinner. And for the size of it, it's a little bit stronger as well. I've got a mono leader on this, so you can't really see in the thing, but there's a mono leader on that. That's the knot there is what's causing my tangle, but that is that is what they run. Ratios are very similar, 7.2 to 1, so it means every time I turn that, it's pulling the line in 7.2 turns, which all fishing reels have, because otherwise it was 1-to-1. The only ones that are really 1-to-1 are the big old surf reels that I've got here, like the LV. They're 1-to-1, but these are all ratioed. So that's your Baitcaster reel. This one's made of a carbon material. It's very light. Can't really tell that. And they have no reverse. And also, unlike a spinning reel, you can't reverse they're not interchangeable side to side. So this one is right-handed. If you want left-handed, you need to buy a left-handed reel. They don't interchange. So that's what a bass reel does, with my very professional backlash, even holding it in my hand. But anyway, let's have a look at the 3 reels that I've come up with for bass fishing. So as we scroll down, again, we've got all the information in here. Think about your composition, your bearings, your rotation. This one's only 4 bearings, I think. So 3 bearings in the spool, 1 in the handle. The more bearings you get, the better they run. Casting, the brakes, I've talked you through the brakes. Spool tension adjustment, which I had loose and then managed to backlash my reel whilst holding it in my hand. That must be a new one. Spool size we talked about. Okay, so there's mine. 12 to 110 mono and 20 to 150 braid. 3+1 bearings, 7.2 to 1 aluminium composition, star drag on side, centrifugal, 6 magnets, removing the casing. Okay, so let's have a look at what we can come up with. Obviously, with the size, the bigger the fish you chase, the bigger the size capacity you want it to be able to manage for your braid. So 145 yards and 30 pounds, or 120 yards, 30 pound there. That one, it depends on the size of the mono. But there's your yards to pounds. 5+1 bearing set, which is good bearing. 7.1 to 1 aluminium Star Dragon side, magnetic brake set on the side. So that's the Piscafun Torrent. Very popular baitcaster reel. And any research I do, I find this one always pops up. It's nice and cheap, but very, very strong and will handle most fish. I mean, if you're running a 30-pound braid, there's not many fish you'll catch that won't that reel won't be able to hold. So very good option there for your for the budget. Next one's the Abu Garcia Revo 4. That's Abu Garcia is a very, very good brand. I've got an Abu Garcia spinning reel, and it works really, really well. Powerful and high performance. Craft alloy, strong yet lightweight, corrosion resistant. I mean, if you're chasing bass, you're generally in fresh water anyway, but you're still in water, so it still corrode. Anywhere from 100 yards on 15 pound up to 175 yards on 10 pound, or braid, again, 20, 30 and 50 pound braid it will handle. 100 yards isn't much. That's sort of the problem with some of these. 50 pounds great. If you only got 100 yards, if you hit a big fish and you get your drag running, then you might run out of line anyway. 10 bearings, which is huge. 6.6 to 7.3, depending on the model you get. Stainless steel and carbon, drag on side, and it's got a dual braking system, so it's quite good at keeping everything up, keeping your casting good and stopping it from the backlash. All that extra stuff there. Carbon matrix drag system, dual braking. A lot harder to backlash this one. I read some reviews, 4.6 out of 5. I read some reviews somewhere else, and they all commented how long casting this one. So this would be a good one. If you need to cast a bit further, pick yourself up a 7-foot rod, something like that. Cast this a bit further, and you will not be disappointed with it from what I can see. And the third one, I've gone the Shimano Curado. Shimano is a well-known brand. This one I've got here, Shimano, certainly not at the quality of the Curado here. Can handle but 65 pound, but only 80 yards. But 50 pound, 120 yard, 30 pound, 190 yard is where I'd be looking, because that's going to give you some good line length. 6.6+1, different ratios depending on the size you get. Metal reel body, high rigidity, star drag, centrifugal. Shimano tend to like the centrifugal braking rather than the button one on the side. But again, I picked this because it's got very good ratings, and my other researchers found that one as well. C12 plus material, 250% stronger. ARB stainless ball bearings. That's where you start means every ball bearing has its own anti-rust. This is where you're starting to get the high-end reels within Shimano and the others. That's one of the big things you get with the high-end reels, apart from the better quality machinery of the gearing. But their ball bearings are high quality as well, and quite often stainless steel, and have their own rust proofing. So that's why this one's a good one. Excuse me, competition and quality. A spelling mistake there, I'll fix that. Hagain Steel is their signature brand, and that's again bringing this into the high end, because that's better, higher quality of machinery on the internal components. So to be honest, for $175, you could do a lot worse than this one here. It's really something that's worthwhile having a look at for that there. Okay. So that's my Shimano Curado. That's my 3 bait casting reels for bass fishing. Hope that was helpful for you. If you're watching this with YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel below, and then comment below if you want to tell me off for spooling, for backlashing my line while holding it in my hand. If you're watching this in the post and you have any experience with any of these reels, if there's another baitcaster reel that you highly recommend for bass fishing, especially after the big largemouth varieties, or if you have experience with these, or any suggestions, comments, differences of opinion, anything like that, comment below. Would love to hear from you. Love to have a chat. Okay, guys, thanks for that. Happy fishing. Chat to you soon. Bye.